Have that coffee. And welcome back to Austin, Texas in the FloMarching studios. This is Taking the Field. I'm live here I'm Emily Tanner-Patterson, and I'm live with David Duffy.
Hey.
So David, really exciting show in Minnesota tonight.
Yeah, great show. It was really great show all the way around.
Yeah, so we finally got to see some cores getting together for the first time. Got some clarification on who's stacking up against who. Let's dive right in. So you told me something that I did not know about the Madison show today.
Yeah, this is something that I heard of, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but this is kind of what I heard. This is Madison's 80th anniversary. And basically, from what I understand, 80 years ago, when the Madison Scouts, their first year, Heart and Soul was #1 on the charts. So, I just think that's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I said to David, well, why is Madison doing a show about a heart? And that turned out to be the answer.
Yeah. I love the aesthetic of the core. I love the red and the blue. I love the fact that it starts so clinical with all the kind of the voiceovers under the Reich piece, and I think it's really kind of cool. I think that show is going to be got some legs to it. I was really impressed with their growth tonight.
And then, of course, the big story all year has been the soloist.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I said to David, she has one job to do, and boy, you can't deny that she does it.
She does it really well, yeah.
So, really tight scoring tonight between Madison and Colts.
Yeah, very tight. Yeah, so, we're going to watch, I think we have a video up here.
Okay, we fixed it. And we're back in the studio. Sorry, we had a few technical difficulties. We've taken care of that. So let's get back to our discussion of the scores. We were talking about Colts and Madison given very comparable scores tonight, 71.25 versus 0.05. So when judges are putting together numbers and you see something like that, what does that tell you, David?
Well, it just depends on I'm not quite sure what the actual new DCI neighborhood, but in a lot of places 0.3 would mean that you're in the same neighborhood. That like on any given night, if you're only 0.3 away in your caption or your subcaption, that means that it could go either way. You know? So just you know, it'd be interesting to see the recap and see how this might have flip-flopped between Madison and Colts, because I definitely think there's some lots of room to growth on both of them, actually.
So basically the judges are saying you guys are comparable, you're neck and neck.
Yeah.
It's anybody's game, any given night.
Right.
Absolutely. We don't have those recaps yet, but we'll be looking at them on DCI.org just like the rest of the fans will later tonight. And then we have a pretty big jump before we get to Crossman. You know, they're 2 points up from Colts, so that's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah, it seems like this next little pack of Crossman, Blue Stars, and Phantom Regiment, are really kind of packed in there together.
So we see a point difference between Blue Stars and then between Blue Stars and the Crossman, and then another point up to Phantom. Who stood out to you tonight between those three?
You know, I have to say that I have to be honest. I really enjoyed the Blue Stars. I really, from the very first time that I saw them in the movie theater, I haven't watched it again, and I really enjoyed the Blue Stars a lot.
Yeah, I have to say, me too. I think the design is really fresh, and you know, as a band director, what I look for is what the kids are being asked to do. Does it match what they're able to do well? And I feel like they've really kind of hit that sweet spot in what they're putting forward on the field. And then Phantom and Crossman both seem like maybe they have some room to go in their productions, David.
Yeah, you know, there's. And again, these are all IMHO, in my humble opinion. Phantom leaves me a little. They leave me a little dry. You know, I feel like there's some part that's been left out. So you know, those designers are great people, and they're great designers. So I'm sure there's something that's going to come. It just kind of leaves me wanting more. And at the end, I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and you know, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, it's July, and we're hoping to see more complete productions at this point. But I think we both looked at some of the elements, for example, of Crossman, and went, yeah, they're just not quite finished there. We're not seeing maybe a completed front drop. We're maybe not seeing, you know, the final flag choice in certain places.
And Phantom, I will say this: it will be, like I said, it'll be interesting, and we all get to see the recaps on Drumcore, DCI.org. I have to think that Phantom is getting the execution nod, because they really are doing what they're being asked to do quite well. So I have a feeling that they're in what I think is they're probably getting the nod for that.
And you know, we can go back and forth between design and execution all day long, but at the end of the day, you know, are the kids doing what they're being asked to do? A lot of it should come down to performer quality, don't you think, David?
I do think so.
And so then we make a really massive, I mean, the judges sent quite a message here. Distinctive differences, I believe, is the phrase that I was trained to use between Phantom and Cavaliers. You know, that's almost a 5-point spread right there.
Yeah.
So you're a Cavies alum. How does it feel to see the Men in Green back up towards the top of the list?
You know, I will say this. I think they were my favorite music book tonight. Like just the marriage of the horn book with you know, the percussion writing and a lot of the you know, the soundscaping and everything that's just so modern today. I really like got into it. I love the whole Ravel bolero thing, and I really felt compelled by it. And again, I haven't seen the Cavaliers since the first show, and you know, I think there's a lot of great things. We're watching the drumline here on your screen, and there's just, I mean, they're just so great.
Yeah, you know, Mike McIntosh, Steve Howard likes to tease me because this is one of my catchphrases, but Mike McIntosh, that guy, he doesn't suck.
No, he does not. He does not at all. He really doesn't. And I will say this, you know, as a Cavalier, I love the fact that it starts, that they start in black, and then the creativity comes out, and with that creativity comes this like hint of just a really on the edge, you know, like whether it's, you know, kind of crazy.
It's been fun to watch that group just push the envelope towards the edge of what is the current activity taste level and what the current trends are. Soundscape, and then you know, we saw politics coming into play last year, and just all sorts of interesting design choices, but done in such a way that it doesn't leave you feeling hung out to dry. Instead, it leaves you feeling entranced and wanting more.
Yeah, like, and the other thing I did notice tonight, and kudos to the staff for this, because I'm always being a band director, and kudos to the guard staff, because it looked like they took some things out, because it was really windy there. I mean, you could tell there was moments watching some of the earlier cores, Crossman, Blue Stars, and Phantom, where it was like, wow, it's really windy, and good for the Cavaliers for, there was some really high aerial stuff that they were doing that I think that had it blown forward, somebody could have been really injured.
Yeah, safety first always.
Yeah, it was comforting to watch that.
And kudos to the performers for being able to execute the rest of the show with those changes.
Yeah, because muscle memory. I mean, all of a sudden you're like, oh, don't throw a 7.
And I'm sure that goes for other color guards tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say one of my favorite things about this Cavaliers show is I first heard the story. For those who don't maybe know as much, there has been some recent research about Ravel, and I'm now going off on the left path, if you will, about bolero and the repetitiousness and how that may have been related to a brain disorder.
Right.
And I first heard about that years ago on a podcast called Radiolab. So anyone who's curious to get a little bit deeper take on the show, I would encourage them to go check that out. And hear a little bit more, because it really is quite fascinating.
Oh yeah, quite fascinating. Yes.
And esoteric, so props to the Cavies design staff for being willing to take a stab.
That constant, incessant bolero rhythm that you just keep, you get it. I think that might annoy some people. I just think it's great. Like, it's just, it's never ending.
You could certainly argue that as a band/core people, we have a brain disorder.
Yeah, probably.
and of course, now that we've lavished lots of love on the Green Machine, we have to talk about BD.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, Blue Devils were just they were just incomparable tonight. I'm glad that it was less than 2 points between the Cavaliers and Blue Devils, because I thought maybe there might be a spread there, because I really think the Blue Devils brought it tonight, and that's generally their thing, is that when they go up against somebody new, they don't take it for granted. The Blue Devils come out, and they come out swinging.
Ready to play.
Yeah. So many great teams. We sat in here and laughed. When they get to that little moment, the character moment where you make me feel like a natural woman. Like, it's just
quintessential Blue Devils. There's so many things about that show that are just, absolutely what you expect to hear and see from that team, from the jazz elements. And I was complaining a little bit about the tendency now in our activity to for the front ensemble to play a million scales and a million runs.
Right.
But they do it in a way that's tasteful, it's appropriate to the music, it's ragtime.
Yeah, that stuff right behind that opening solo is just so tasteful. It's just so well done. Yeah.
So you kind of said when we looked at their score from DCI at the Rose Bowl earlier today, we were talking about how did you put it? That every element is
yeah, they don't have a weak element. They really don't. And
no weaknesses.
I thought tonight was a really great, kudos to the guard and the guard staff. I thought that they had a really great run tonight. The Blue Devils. I thought they were really on, and I love the characterization that they're bringing to DCI. I really do like that. I think it's kind of cool, and for them also, if I may, I think in the past their props have been really esoteric, and I think kind of this year they are doing props like other people are doing it, and
they've kind of reined it back in.
Well, no, and they're going, hey, we do it just as well as everybody else. We can do our props just, and so
we don't have to have massive ships and paintings on the field.
Right. But I love the way the whole thing comes together. I love the vibe that everything is set up. I have to shout out to the trombone player, who I just think is, being a trombone player myself, just think he's awesome. So.
Well, it doesn't hurt that he's one of your former students.
No, it doesn't.
Dave was sitting in here tonight for the viewers at home telling me about each of his former students in each of these cores that we're watching, and then all the cores that we're going to watch tomorrow. So just speaks to your deep educational background, Dave.
Or just how old I am.
Fair enough. All right. So takeaways from tonight leading into tomorrow night. What do you think, Dave?
I just think the state of drum corps right now in July, everybody seems to be ready. We talked about at the beginning of the show that July, and it seems like everybody's ready for July. Let's do it. So.
Well, We'll have to see whether that holds true again tomorrow. We'll be with you guys from Orlando.
Camping World. Camping World Stadium.
And we're going to see a lot of the teams that we didn't get to see tonight. Those groups that have been on that East Coast swing went south for a bit. And so Taking the Field will be live with you tomorrow, 5:45 Central. So that will be 6:45 Eastern, or interpret for wherever you are in the world. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight from Austin, Texas in the FloMarching Studios. I'm Emily Tanner-Patterson with David Duffy.
Yep.
We'll be with you tomorrow, signing off for tonight.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, that was like the worst last sentence of my life.